So, good morning, all of you. In our last class, we discussed the concepts of result set. So, how to read from a result set, then how to make a result set scrollable with three constants, that is, type forward only, type scroll insensitive, type scroll sensitive. So, these were the three constant parameters which we can use in the creation of the statement object, so that we can restrict the virtual cursor movement to either forward only or in forward and backward directions, and to make it sensitive or insensitive to the changes made to the underlying data. And then we discussed how to verify whether the concept of scrollable is supported in our driver or not using the metadata objects. Then today we shall discuss the updatable result set and uh, deleting of result set. So the rows that are present in the result set can be updatable, similar to how we update the rows in the table. So in the table we will update the data using the update command or a delete command we will use to delete the data, insert command we will use to insert a new data. So likewise, the data that is present in the database can be modified. So similarly here, the data that is present in the result set can be modified. So this can be made possible again by through a settings that are used using the create statement. So in the create statement method, we will pass the constant, that is the concur underscore updatable. So this is the function constant, that is concur underscore updatable. So alternatively, we can also use concur read only. So this concur read only constant can be passed to again a create statement to prevent the result set from being updated. So the two constant, that is concur updatable, concur read only. So read only will make the result set only reading. So updation of data will not be possible using this constant. If we use this concur underscore updatable constant, then we can make a changes to the result set. So there are three ways in which a result set can be changed. So one is deleting a row, inserting a new row, and updating the values. So all these changes are accomplished using different methods that are provided in the statement object. So first, let us see how to update the result set. So once we execute a query using execute query statement method, then the statement objects are method that will return a result set. So then we can use the update method to change the value of a column of the current row in the result set. So just like how we use the get method, like get string, get int method to extract a value from a column. So similarly, we can use update method to change the value of a particular method. So we shall see that in an example. So in this particular example, so we are just connecting to the database by providing the URL, user ID, password, then declaring the statement object, result set, and connection objects. So this part of the code is common for all the examples. So irrespective of what we do in the JDBC connection program, so this part will remain. So uh, the updation part, so we shall see here. So here in this particular example, so we are using a query in the try block, that is string query select first name last name from customers where first name is Mary and last name is Smith. So we are extracting a particular row having a first name Mary and last name as Smith. So once this query string is set, then what we have to do is we will use the create statement method. So db.create statement, again db is a connection object. On a connection object, we'll create a statement. So for this, we are passing a setting. So that setting is result set dot conquer underscore updatable. So this conquer underscore updatable is used. So what does this conquer updatable do? So this particular constant conquer updatable will make the result set updatable. That's it, which means it will allow us to change the values of the certain rows. Then, so again, this constant has to be passed in create statement only. Then this particular create statement will return the statement object. This statement object will be executed. Okay. So statement object is executed using execute query. The string is passed over here. This statement object will return the result set. Now we have a variable results holding the result set. Next what we do, so this is just a catch block. Okay, then we have here results dot next. So this will take the cursor to first row. Result dot next. Now the cursor is pointing to first row, and Boolean records we are checking whether there are any data or not. That's it. Once it fails, so we'll again come back to this try block. So here on the result set object, we are using the update method, that is results dot update string. So this string is a data type we are passing. So which column we are updating? That is last name Smith. So here in this particular example, we can change the last name over here. So here, okay, our original value is also Smith. So this one is also Smith as an example. So this one can be modified. So instead of Smith over here, so we will use some other name. So this one we will change it to something called as maybe Jones. Okay. Now update string last name Jones. So this will update the result set last name to Jones. So earlier it was Smith, now it will become Jones. So this is a typing mistake. Even in the textbook, the same is there. So in this process, what happened is this update string method takes two parameters. So first one is the name of the column, and the second parameter is the value that has to be replaced. The value in the column of the result set can be replaced with the null value also. So if we want to replace any value with null, then we can use update null method also. Okay, then it will make null. So update null method will take only one parameter, which is the column name in the, which is the number of column in the current row. So update null doesn't accept the name of the column as a parameter. So that is the difference between update string, update int, and update null. So if we want to put a null value, then we have to use update null method, and update null method will take column number as the input. So here in this particular example, so we are searching, we are searching for the person, that is Mary Smith, and last name we are changing it to Jones. So the change takes affect once the update row method is called. So on the result set, see here, results dot update row, this method has to be called. So only on calling this particular update row method, the row will get updated, which means the changes will take place. So the effect can be seen. Now the corresponding row in the table remains unchanged until an update query is run. Okay, so we have only so the changes in the table can only get affected on when then this update row is run. So until then, so the changes will not be present in the table. So this is an example of updating a result set. The only difference is the constant that we need to pass in this statement object, and then using these two functions. That's it. So update string, update row, then here this particular constant. So next we shall see the delete row option. So in order to delete a row in the result set, so there is a method that is delete row. So this delete row method is used to remove a row from the result set. So this method is useful when while processing we want to remove some of the rows. So using this way we can eliminate the row from the future processing in our program. So let us see with an example also. Delete row method is passed an integer that contain the number of row to be deleted. So it's always good to use the absolute method in order to traverse um, so that a particular row can be deleted. So delete row method is then passed with 0 integer if you want to delete uh, the particular row. So here this is the method, that is results dot delete row of 0. So here this 0 indicates it is the current row. So whenever we want to delete a particular row, for example in a result set, so if we have rows like this and we want to delete this particular row, then what we have to do is, so first thing is we have to bring the cursor to this particular row. So by using next method, we will bring the cursor to this row. So once the cursor is here, then we have to call this particular method. So here this 0 indicates it is the absolute value. So 0 means the current row will be deleted. Wherever the current cursor position is there, that row will be deleted. So that's why, so this is a current cursor position, that's the offset from the current cursor position, so that will be deleted. So when we want to delete a row, we have to take the cursor to that particular row, then call 0. So that is the safest method to delete a row. Before deleting, so we must make sure that we are in the correct row. So that's why this has to be 0. So next, inserting a row into the result set. So if you want to add a new row into the database through result set. So inserting a new row in the result set is accomplished using the same technique that we use to update a row. So we'll use the update method to specify the column names and the value that we will be placing. So again, as we know, the update method requires two parameters. So first one is either the name of the column or the number of the column. Then the second parameter is a new value that will be placed in that particular column. So here we must be careful about the data type that we use. So insert row method is called after update method. So we'll update the values, then we have to call the insert row method, which causes the new row to be inserted into the result set having the values that are currently pointed by the result set. So again, this updates the underlying database also. So we shall see an example. So here is a portion of that particular code. So because connecting to the database, executing a query, so that is all same. So here one more thing that we need to do is in the create statement we have to use the constant that is concurrent updatable. So that constant we have to use when we want to update the result set or delete or insert a new row into the result set. So here, so what happens? Boolean record next. So we'll go to the first row. Here what we have to do is results dot update string 1 comma Tom. So here what happens? So wherever the cursor is pointing, so the first column will, its value will be changed to Tom, like this. So Tom will be there. That is the first column. And the second column, so we'll be writing it as Smith. So first one Tom, second column is Smith. Again, here the column numbers will start with 1, so it doesn't start with 0, unlike we start the array indexing. So column numbering will start with 1. So we have updated it. Then we have to use results dot insert row. So this is the only difference from the insert row and update row. So in update row, the same row value get changes, but here in insert row, the cursor will be the result set cursor will be pointing to this particular row. Its value we are changing. The changed value will now be inserted as a. So here, so this Tom and Smith, so that will be getting inserted as a new row here. So that will update the underlying database. So it's only when we use this insert row, that row gets added in the database. So instead of having one more query to change the database, again just like select star statement, we can execute an update statement also. But using this way, we can avoid unnecessary executions. So we have to prepare one more SQL statement, pass everything. So instead, directly using these statements, so we can update the underlying database. So this is how we can update result set either by changing the values, delete the rows, and insert a new row into the result set. So the next concept that we will be studying is the transaction processing. So transaction processing. So a transaction, for example, so let us assume we are doing a transaction in Google Pay. So what happens in a transaction is, so first we will select So what happens in a transaction is, so we will select the sender. Obviously it is our account. We will select the from account and we will select the to account. So to whom we want to send the money in Google Pay. Then we'll enter the amount and click on transfer button. So on clicking the transfer button, what happens? The money from our account will be deducted, and at the same time the money should be credited to the other person's account. So it is a two database operation. One is update one that will reduce the balance in our account, and the other one is simultaneously uh, the receiver's account has to be updated. So it involves two database operations. So likewise, we cannot see these database operations in isolation. So they both must be completed. So if account amount is deducted from our account, but it is not credited in the receiver's account, then we say that the transaction has failed. So both of these two should complete. So a database transaction will contain a set of SQL operations. Each must be successfully completed for a transaction to complete. So a transaction is nothing but a set of SQL statements, or we can also say it as a sequence of SQL statement that must be executed as a whole. If any one of the SQL statement fails in a transaction, then the entire statements that are executed already must be rolled back. So this is what happens, right? If money gets deducted from our account, but it is not credited in other person's account, then obviously the transaction will fail and the money that has been deducted from our account should be rolled back. So, and it takes time in banking and financial activities. So for this particular purpose, database will provide the features for transaction processing. So a database transaction will contain a set of SQL statements. So database transaction doesn't completed until the J2EE component calls the commit method. So in order to support the transaction processing, so we have certain methods. So one such method is a commit. So you have already heard this word in database. So when we put the commit command in the database, so it means that all the changes to the database will be saved, which means it becomes persistent. So similarly here we have a commit method. So commit method can be called on the connection object. So once the commit method is issued, it indicates that all the methods are or all the SQL statements have been executed properly and the transaction is successful. So there is also a setting of auto commit. So in all the previous examples which we discussed, so they belong to auto commit, which is by default. So in J2EE component, when processing a transaction, so auto commit feature can be deactivated. So there is a method to deactivate the auto committing feature. So in that we can set it to false, and again we can set it to true and reactivate the auto commit feature. So let us look at an example to see how the uh, transaction works. So I will highlight only that portion of the transaction. So before this connecting to database, loading the driver, and they are all same. So first thing what we have to do is database dot set auto commit. We have to choose false. So which means we are deactivating the auto commit feature. So unless and until we put the commit command, so no changes will be stored in the database. So auto commit, we are setting it to false. So that is the first step. Then we are declaring two queries, query 1 and query 2. In the query 1, we are updating the customer and setting the street value to 5 Main Street. First name is Bob. So Bob's address we are changing. At the same time, using a query 2, we are again changing the street address of one more person, that is Tim. So for both the customers, we are changing their street address. So these are the query 1 and query 2 we want to combine together and execute. So then what we do, we will create two statements, that is the data request 1, data request 2. So create statement we are calling. Then we are executing the update command. So since they are update command, so we are calling execute update. It will work even if we call execute query also. So execute update query 1, execute update query 2. So once these two gets executed, then only we are calling the commit command. So once they successfully both of them execute, then we are calling the database dot commit. So again, here database is the connection object. So connection, on connection object we are calling commit. So commit function is called over here. Then we will close the statement and then we will close the statement. Now here, how will we get to know that this particular transaction has failed? So if at all the transaction fails, then we will get to know using this try catch block. So that is the use of try catch. So if any one of the query fails, then obviously exceptions will be raised and the control will move to the catch block. So any kind of exceptions. So here, so following this try block, so there is a catch block also. So we are catching the SQL exception. So we'll print the exception, and once we print, we need to decide whether to what to do with the transaction. So whether we need to continue the transaction or do we need to roll it back. So further what we have to do is we have to verify whether the connection is null or not. So if the connection is null, so the transaction has to be rolled back. So transaction rollback should happen. Again, the variable which has been used over here, that should be database. Okay, so because that is the variable for connection object. Okay, the same mistakes are there in your textbooks also. So when you study, just change them. So this is not a connection variable. So the variable that in the example that is used for connection object is the database. So database not equal to null. So what we have to do, if the connection itself is null, then we know that there is an exception with the connection itself. But how, if the connection is not null, then it indicates that there is an exception in the execution of the query. So if there is an exception in the execution of the query, then we have to roll back. So how to roll back? So we have to use this method, that is rollback. So on the connection object, we have to call rollback method. So what does this rollback method do? So the rollback method will remove all the changes that are made to the database from the previous commit statement. So it will take the database to the previous commit state. Okay, so this is a one way of rolling back if there are any exceptions. Okay. Then we have the other concepts like save points. Okay, so that save points and all we will discuss in our next class. Okay, so here transaction means it is a set of SQL statements that we want to bunch together and execute them. If any one of them fails, then we will roll back. So all the execution statements, so we will put it in one try block. So if all of them execute properly, then we will come out of that try block without any exceptions. So if we come up with any exceptions, then we will move to the catch block. In the catch block, we will verify whether the connection is null or not. If the connection is null, it indicates that there is no problem with the execution, the problem is with the connection. So if the connection is not null, it indicates that the exception is due to the query execution. So then what happens? So we'll just roll back our queries by calling the rollback method. Okay. So let us stop here for today. So in our next class, of course, we are left with only a very minor or minute topics to complete this particular module. So we'll discuss the concept of save points. So again, we have over here that is the H2 save points. So we'll discuss these save points and their significance in our next class. So along with that, we'll discuss the results at holdability and wind up this particular module in our next class. So you can enter your attendance in the chat window and exit.